Hello, this video is to provide guidance on completing the Sabers SEB assessment and Renaissance STAR assessments. As you can see here, I'm on the Renaissance homepage, and you're going to begin by logging in to obviously get to this homepage, and then you're going to scroll down and you're going to click on Sabers. Once you click on Sabers, you'll note that you can select your school. This is just a sample, and I've chosen this particular school. You can choose your class name to find that as well. And then you'll also find students that are currently assigned to you. And if you click on that, you'll see all the students. If by chance you do have a student that does not need to complete the Sabers assessment, you can simply unclick their name. In this case, both Ann and John do need to have the Sabers assessment completed for them. And as a kind reminder, the Sabers assessment is for any student with an SEB IEP goal in the domains of social behavioral and emotion behavioral. So you'll note here that each of these students have already taken the assessment, but for the case of this video, I want to show you that you can delete the teacher assessment. And you'll notice that if the student still needs to take the assessment, that there'll be 3 dots. And so by clicking on those 3 dots, you then click on the Start Assessment bar, and you will then use the following scale, and you're going to identify how frequently the student has displayed each of the following behaviors during the previous month. You'll see that the responses are never, sometimes, often, and always. So we begin by asking ourselves, Anne, has she been arguing this previous month? Never, sometimes, often, always, and for this particular box, I will click often. Then cooperation with peers, we can click, again, the corresponding. There's sometimes some cooperation, often temper outbursts. There has been some disruptive behavior, ability to be polite and socially appropriate, put sometimes, and impulsiveness, we will click always. Then we'll move down to academic behavior, and then we'll continue to ask ourselves, in the previous month, did I note interest in academic topics? Never, sometimes, often, or always. So I'm just going to move down each of these boxes, asking that question and just clicking on the appropriate box, and then I finally move to emotional behavior. And in this case, we'll note often sad, often fearful, sometimes adaptable to change, sometimes a positive attitude, always worried, and often having difficulty rebounding from setbacks, and then withdrawal as well. You'll note that there are 19 total items in the teacher side of the assessment. Once you're done, you can scroll down. If you want to, you can add notes, and you can add notes about the assessment, anything you want to take note of with regards to the student. And ultimately, then you're going to click Submit Assessment. As we said here, you can see that each of these students have their score for Sabers, and then you can also do the View Report also. There is an individual skill report and a group screening report. If you click on the individual skills report, you'll note these 2 students. You'll see the risk level score up top, and then you'll see the associated domain of social, academic, and emotional, and also charts as well that indicate replies. And you'll also see John Smith as well. By clicking back, I can also then go to View Saber Reports and click on Group Screening Report, and all the students will be noted. You can also see that there is a student assessment as well, and you can see here that John Smith has already completed his assessment. You'll note that Anne has not. So in that case, I want to show you what it looks like on the student side. The student will click on I am student. And I'm going to log in here. And then the student is going to click on My Sabers. You can choose to click Play Audio, and that'll help the student as necessary.
Choose the option that best represents the answer you want. Be sure to choose the best answer.
And then the student will begin by clicking start. You can do play the audio, or the student can just read. So I'll play the audio. And the student's going to need to ask themselves in the previous month, I never, I sometimes, I often, or almost always. And perhaps the student clicks sometimes. And then the student will proceed to the next question. I get along with my peers. We'll click often for that one. And the student will keep going. You'll see that there's 20 total questions for students. That's because students are also asked, other people like me. And since this is a reputational identity item, which is best judged on self-assessment, Sabers has just the student complete that as well. So the student will continue moving through all 20 questions, and ultimately they will hit submit. And as I shared over here, we're going to log back in. I'll scroll down to Sabers again. This is the teacher side of the equation. And you'll note again that you'll see John and Ann. And once we would have completed Ann, her student score would have appeared as well. So that's a quick overview on using Renaissance Sabers assessment. And I'm hoping that you found this video helpful for you. Thank you.